At 9:37 local time, the quiet morning at Iran's Bandar Abbas naval base was shattered as a barrage of Tomahawk missiles from the U.S. Navy struck the Iranian frigate Sahand. The blast sent plumes of black smoke into the sky, signaling the beginning of a devastating assault. This precise high-tech strike, aided by terrain contour matching and digital scene matching, marked the first of many attacks that would cripple Iran's naval forces. Within minutes, another Tomahawk missile obliterated the Sabalan, leaving nothing but burning wreckage behind. As the chaos spread, Iranian drone carriers launched Shahed drones at American vessels, but the U.S. responded with LRASM missiles, demonstrating superior firepower and intelligence. This is a story of cutting-edge military technology clashing in the Strait of Hormuz, where every second counts and every missile matters. Stay tuned for the full breakdown. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more thrilling military insights. At 9 o'clock, the day began like any other at Iran's Bandar Abbas naval base. The morning sky was calm, the sea waters rippling gently under the early light. Among the various ships moored at the base, the Iranian frigate Sahand lay idle, unaware that it was about to become the target of one of the most precise military operations in recent history. For days, the U.S. Navy had been carefully monitoring the area, gathering intelligence on Iran's naval positions. The stakes were high, with key shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz under constant threat. To secure its interests in the region, the U.S. military had mobilized over 50 Tomahawk missiles across various platforms, ready to strike at a moment's notice. As the clock ticked down, the tension was palpable. At 9:37, a series of events unfolded that would change the course of naval warfare. U.S. destroyers positioned 55 miles off the coast launched Tomahawk missiles, each traveling at a speed of 550 miles per hour, directly targeting Iranian naval assets. The Sahand was the first to feel the brunt of this overwhelming firepower. By 9:47, the first missile struck the Sahand, exploding upon impact. The violent blast tore through the ship, sending black smoke soaring hundreds of feet into the sky. Within seconds, the Sahand was engulfed in flames, and the harbor quickly descended into chaos. Another missile was already en route, locking onto the Sabalan, just 12 miles away. By 9:53, the second missile found its mark, ensuring that no Iranian ship would remain unscathed. As the smoke billowed over the harbor, the Iranian forces were left in complete disarray. The U.S. Navy had struck with precision, making it clear that no vessel in these waters was beyond reach. As the flames from the Sahand continued to burn, the U.S. Navy's relentless assault wasn't slowing down. Within moments of the first attack, a second wave was already on its way. The mission was clear: destroy Iran's naval capability in the Strait of Hormuz and do it fast. The precision-guided missiles that had obliterated the Sahand were only the beginning. By 9:50, the next missile, fired from a U.S. destroyer 45 miles offshore, was already closing in on the Sabalan, one of Iran's most formidable warships. Using DSMAC, Digital Scene Matching Area Correlation, the missile's onboard system matched real-time images with satellite photos to ensure a direct hit. In less than 30 seconds, the missile tore through the Sabalan, smashing into the hull with devastating force. The explosion sent shockwaves across the harbor, and soon, another ship was added to the list of casualties. The U.S. Navy had already launched over 60 Tomahawks, each one costing $1.8 million and each designed to hit its target with extreme precision. The use of advanced technologies like TERCOM and DSMAC allowed the U.S. to bypass traditional targeting methods, making it nearly impossible for Iran's forces to react in time. With each strike, the Iranian Navy's ability to defend itself dwindled. But while the missiles rained down, Iran's forces were scrambling to counteract. They had no choice but to launch a counteroffensive. But even as the smoke cleared and debris floated on the water, the U.S. Navy was already planning its next move. It was clear: this was just the beginning of a much larger operation. What do you think Iran's response will be? Will they retaliate or try to regroup? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter of this epic battle. At 9:55, as the wreckage of the Sahand and Sabalan smoldered in the distance, the Iranian military was scrambling to retaliate. The precision strikes had left their naval forces crippled, but Iran wasn't giving up just yet. The U.S. Navy's attack had been swift, and now Iran was preparing to launch its last line of defense: drones. Anchored 3 miles north of the burning ships was the Shahed 136, a floating drone carrier packed with over 20 Shahed drones. Each of these drones, capable of carrying 40-kilogram warheads, was designed to target the US Navy's most vulnerable ships. With no other options left, the Iranian commanders hoped that these drones, if launched quickly enough, could overwhelm the incoming US forces. But the US was already steps ahead. At 10:05, the US Navy had already detected the drone launch, and fighter jets were rapidly preparing their next strike. The LRASM, Long-Range Anti-Ship Missile, a missile with an operational range of 500 miles, was deployed from a Super Hornet jet at 40,000 feet. The missile's advanced passive sensors began scanning for emissions from the Iranian drone carrier, locking on with remarkable precision. Within minutes, the missile closed in on its target. By 10:20, the Iranian drone carrier was obliterated in a massive explosion. The blast was so powerful that it sent debris scattered across the Gulf of Oman, while flames rose high into the air. The US Navy's strategic use of the LRASM and its cutting-edge DSMAC Digital Scene Matching Area Correlation technology ensured a hit that left no room for error. The Iranian fleet was now entirely at the mercy of American forces, who had total control over the air and sea. But the danger wasn't over. While the Iranian drones had been neutralized, fast attack boats loaded with Nasr-1 anti-ship missiles were already darting between larger vessels, seeking cover in the commercial shipping lanes. The stage was set for the final confrontation. By 10:45, the Iranian Navy was reeling from the losses of the Sahand and Sabalan, but the real test was about to begin. Iran's most powerful ship, the Jamaran, the flagship of their fleet, had remained untouched. The Jamaran had been paraded on state television for years as the pride of Iran's naval forces. Equipped with Noor anti-ship missiles and Fajr 27 surface-to-air systems, it was thought to be their ultimate weapon. But the US Navy had prepared for this. At 11 o'clock, a Slammer, standoff land attack missile, extended range, was launched from a US fighter jet, cruising at 35,000 feet. The missile, weighing over 2,000 pounds, was designed for precision strikes, and it was about to make its mark. The Jamaran, with its outdated radar systems, had no way to track the incoming missile as it rapidly closed in on its target. As the Slammer descended, the Jamaran's crew scrambled to respond. They tried to activate the ship's Fajr 27 air defense system, but it was too late. At 11:04, the Slammer smashed through the Jamaran's hull, striking the engine room directly. The explosion sent shockwaves throughout the ship, rupturing bulkheads and causing flooding to spread quickly below deck. Within 30 seconds, the Jamaran began to list, its once proud structure beginning to crumble under the weight of the damage. By 11:10, the Jamaran had sunk to the bottom of its own harbor, a once mighty symbol of Iran's naval strength reduced to a burning wreck. The US Navy's technology had proved overwhelming. The combination of long-range missiles, precision targeting systems, and real-time intelligence had crippled Iran's fleet. But Iran wasn't ready to surrender just yet. The next phase of the battle was about to unfold, and the US Navy was already preparing for the final confrontation. By 11:30, the Iranian Navy had been shattered, but there was still one final force left to challenge the US Navy's dominance in the Strait of Hormuz: the IRGC Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats. These small, nimble boats, equipped with Nasr-1 anti-ship missiles, were the last line of defense Iran had left. Designed for guerrilla tactics, they could easily hide among the massive tankers that filled the busy waters of the strait. The US Navy knew they were out there. The Iranian boats, numbering around 25, were already darting between supertankers, using their speed and the radar clutter to stay hidden from detection. By 11:40, a P-8 Poseidon reconnaissance aircraft, flying at 20,000 feet, picked up the signatures of the boats on its radar. The aircraft's Harpoon anti-ship missiles were ready to be deployed, but the fast boats were moving at speeds of up to 70 knots, making them difficult to target. At 11:50, the US Navy launched its first strike. AMH-60, Romeo helicopter armed with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles descended toward the clustered boats. The missile locked onto the closest target, a boat tucked between two large tankers. The Hellfire missile hit with pinpoint accuracy, destroying the boat in an instant and sending a massive fireball into the air. But the Iranian boats didn't give up. They pressed on, continuing to fire off Nasr-1 missiles at US vessels, hoping for a lucky shot. However, the US response was swift. F/A-18E Super Hornets, flying at 30,000 feet, launched AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles, quickly taking out another group of fast boats. Within 30 minutes, nearly half of the Iranian boats were either sunk, destroyed, or drifting without power. By 1220, the remaining Iranian fast boats were either retreating into the shadows or sunk at the bottom of the Gulf of Oman. The last semblance of Iranian resistance had been wiped out. The U.S. Navy's overwhelming firepower, combined with the use of advanced intelligence, surveillance, and targeting systems, had decisively ended the battle. The Strait of Hormuz was now fully under U.S. control. But the question remained, with Iran's naval forces decimated, what would be their next move? The U.S. Navy had proven its might, but the conflict was far from over. By 1245, the final remnants of Iran's naval forces lay scattered across the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. Navy had proven its overwhelming superiority, effectively dismantling Iran's ability to control the Strait of Hormuz. But while the battlefield seemed to quiet, the implications of this operation were just beginning to sink in. The battle had shown the immense power of modern military technology. With over 100 Tomahawk missiles launched and multiple precision-guided bombs deployed, the U.S. had obliterated critical targets in just a few hours. The sheer speed and precision of the strikes were a testament to the advancements in missile systems like the LRASM and SLAM-ER, which had not only outpaced their targets but rendered traditional military tactics obsolete. Iran, once a formidable regional power, had been caught completely off guard, with its naval capabilities reduced to ashes. The destruction of the Jamaran, Iran's flagship, was particularly symbolic. It had been the pride of their navy for years, yet it took just one missile to send it to the bottom of the harbor. Similarly, the drone carriers and the fast attack boats, once seen as key assets, were decimated by the U.S. Navy's superior air and sea capabilities. In total, over 80 Iranian vessels were either destroyed or rendered inoperable, marking a decisive victory for the U.S. But as the smoke cleared, one question remained. What now? Iran, humiliated and weakened, could not simply accept this loss. While their naval forces had been decimated, their resolve would remain. Could this conflict escalate into something larger, or would Iran shift its strategy to more unconventional warfare? As I reflect on this, it's hard not to think about the broader consequences. This was not just a display of military might, but a warning. The use of AI, precision missiles, and advanced targeting systems in combat signals a new era of warfare, one where traditional strategies may no longer apply. It also raises the question of how much technology should be relied upon in modern conflict. While these innovations provide significant advantages, they also blur the line between human decision-making and machine-driven combat. What do you think? Is this the future of warfare, or will traditional tactics make a comeback? How do you feel about the role of AI and automation in combat? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.